like what intention do you have for the call? Like what you, so you're coming in with some type of intention in terms of a result you want to get, start like exploring, or a problem to solve, like anything at all that is one of your intentions that you had coming in here, whatever it is. So I make sure that that gets accomplished as well.
Um, well, the intention on the other mission marketing calls has always been to learn something new and and work with it.
Good
And
point. Good
that's
point.
that's what we've always done. So other than that,
So that's
my
good. So Samina, what you want to tell people, that's very valid. So what you want to just set them up a little differently. If I'm going over here, it's I'm looking at her over there. Is you would say, so John, you know how our calls go like this, and we learn something, and like it's with Scott, it's different. My headphones just died, I think.
can you hear
No?
me?
Yeah, no, I just heard a sound happen, but I got my backups. But anyway, so it's like what you want to do with Scott is, whatever the biggest problem you seem to have in your business or your life or whatever, like yes, it is mission marketing, but come to him with something that you're pretty confident that it's really, really important, but we may or may not get that thing dealt with during our whole 12 weeks together. Like, give me the biggest problem you got in your life, the biggest problem you have in your business. And that's the stuff that I'm really good at.
Okay.
So yeah, what I say to people is, if you want to hire me to help you improve, I think there's better people for you, right? So give me something, if I was the guy of last resort, and there's just something like, and I sometimes say, what if I were God, which I'm not, but what if it was like you could talk to God and just ask him one question, and you would finally trust that answer, and the question is the key. The question's the key. You only got one question with God. What is the question? What's the problem we want to start looking at solving? That doesn't mean 2 hours it's magically done at all, but it means at least we can start looking at where it's fundamentally, where you're fundamentally off with either your business or your life. Said another way, the integrity's out and you can't see it.
when it comes to when as you know, I have a full-time day job, and I've been wanting to build this as a side business for. I think I've been doing this since 2011.
Try to stay in the camera. Yeah, no, it's good,
Sorry,
good.
I've got a
No,
cheap
no.
camera.
Yeah, yeah.
So since about 2011, I've been doing this writing thing on the side, and I know I could be doing more with it. I know I could be making more with it, and I know I could be doing better at it. But um, I do, like you said, I seem to be out of integrity. And one of the biggest problems I have is when I have a writing task, is it can take me a long time before I can get into it. Which is why you see me making deliveries at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's because, it was a 2 or 3 hour writing task, and I couldn't get going on it until midnight. Um, so that's I think that's where I'm the most out of integrity with myself, because on the one hand, this is something that I want. I mean, I don't have a major. I have a financial driver, but not a major financial driver that makes me want to get good at this.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
but
I don't know if you remember, because you've done 1,000 gigs. Do you know how many gigs you did for me when I was struggling in the school business, and you charged me $5?
yeah,
You
well,
never
it's
cared.
I've always I've always liked the space that you and now Samina come from, and I've always wanted to be in a position to help somebody who's doing good, and I see you guys as doing good in the world. So
Oh yeah.
it's very easy for me to kind of stretch things in that regard, you know. Um, but um,
Let's come back to you. I got to be
yeah,
careful not to bring it to us.
okay,
Samina struggled with that. Because I coached her. Do not let him start turning it into coaching and helping you, because that'll be his tendency, and it's a way to avoid looking at yourself and your business.
okay,
And it's an easy place to go. So
yeah.
I'm good at recognizing it. Sorry for putting it in this space though.
Oh, um, so that's what I'd like to look at. I mean, if in a perfect world, I'd like to be able to smoothly make the transition from doing one thing to another, and not be
Okay, so let's
and
look at let's look at what you think is the problem, and then let's just okay. So you do the late deliveries, you can't get started on it till late at night. Things and then you get started, and that's a pattern. I got it. But my question is, what if that pattern didn't exist and you weren't late anymore? Let's just pretend that's the case. Then what would the problem be? Because I think the problem is more than that.
it might be
That's because that's so easy to solve that I'm not even going to tell you how to solve it until later. That's
okay.
so easy to solve. But so let's
Um,
imagine it was solved. Then what do you think the problem would be?
I'm not sure. Mm,
Okay, how about this? What problem would you still have in your business or your life?
no, I'd still be obese, and I still wouldn't get to bed on time.
But is that a problem?
Yes.
Okay.
um, so
How is
uh,
that a problem?
um, well, it's just uh, the fact that uh, it's hard to say this because it makes me sound like a friggin' man child, but
No, that's okay.
when I have a real problem getting to bed at night, and it's gotten worse since the epidemic started. Um, and uh, I was diagnosed as depressed years ago, and so I take the generic form of Prozac for it. And but I've noticed for my entire life, I can't remember a time when I gladly went to bed, regardless of how tired I was. And I've never understood whether it is a fear of missing something, or if it's just because in my depression that I'm constantly looking for distraction, which I am. I read I haven't read a ton of books on it, but I've read a couple. And the most recent one I read, they mentioned that's and that was my first insight into this behavior, is because I would much rather have distraction than deal with my own thoughts. So generally what happens is I'll stay up late, watching junk on Netflix or something like that, or watching YouTube videos instead of, once my work is done, instead of going to bed. Um, and so maybe this thing where I'm having a difficult time getting started with my writing as early as I'd like to, maybe maybe those are caused by the same thing. Maybe I'm just trying to distract myself so much that it's difficult for me to dig in and do useful work. I'm just, I'm not real great at introspection. So I don't know for sure, even what the problem is.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. When you go to bed, or when you should be going to bed, or when you're so you have this pattern that when you go to bed, it's hard to go to sleep and there's negative thoughts going on.
No, but usually it doesn't take me long to fall asleep at all. Once I it's getting into bed. It's stopping the stuff that I'm doing turning the light off and going to bed, that's the hard part. Once I get to bed, I fall asleep, fairly quickly, because if for no other reason than I am pretty sleep deprived. But uh, but it's that whole thing of gee, I don't know. Just getting to business and getting things done, that I don't seem to have that problem when it comes to my day job.
So
Um,
tell me about your day job. What is it you do? What time do you wake up in the morning? Is it a 9 to 5 or what is it?
pretty much it's 8 to 5. I work. I'm a
So
project manager for the software department in a medium-sized regional bank.
wait. What time do you wake up?
Um, about 7:30 most days.
7:30, and then tell me what happens when you wake up. Like, do you wake up? An alarm goes off. Do you wake up
Yeah.
naturally? Okay, an
No,
alarm goes off. What's the first thought you have when typically? What are the type of thoughts you have when you're just starting to wake up? Like today, I woke up with a thought. Oh my God, I see a way to that John can position what he does uniquely. And that's common for me. I wake up and it's almost like I'm woken up by a thought that's totally connected to what I'm committed to. And so they're all like just positive thoughts, right? But what kind of thoughts do you kind of recall?
Usually, I wish I'd have gotten to bed earlier, and I feel like crap, and it's going
Okay.
to be hard to get moving, and then as
Yeah.
I go about my morning routine and start to wake up a little bit, then I'll start getting into a space where I'll start thinking about, what's going to be going on during the day, and start to have some more positive thoughts
So the
about it.
first thought is I wish I would have went to bed earlier.
Uh-huh. Or I
Yeah,
wish I
yeah.
could stay in bed,
Yeah.
because I feel tired, most of the time.
And what is it that you look forward to in a kind of negative way with your job? What negative thoughts do you have about your job?
Uh, I wonder what's going to go wrong today, because I'm a project manager and it's my job to handle things going wrong. Um, so, and as I mentioned, we had our big deployment about a week and a half ago, and the time leading up to that was extremely stressful.
No,
And
I already
then,
get it. I don't need to know the
yeah,
story because
okay,
I get it. Is that because and again, this is never like a judgment or criticism. It's just observation. I just look at it like just what's so. So what's so is because you not because you don't operate with that integrity definition, right? And by the way, that's what we did at Trevor's company, right? Like one time Trevor was 1 minute late to one of the meetings and I reamed him out in front of everybody. This is why, like, so what, and the reason why we talked all about that is because that means that your life is basically living in crisis.
okay.
Does that make sense? Like for you to say, I wonder what's going to go wrong today. So it's kind of like things go wrong and then you try to fix it. Whereas the integrity choices definition that is, that you've seen only because you've seen it is that's all about, seeing the crisis before it's going to happen. And you're just constantly living like that. And then making sure that crisis don't happen.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like you're a victim of the circumstances that happen at work.
Sometimes that's certainly true, but part of the job as a PM is to plan for those things, and and certainly in this well, in every project.
Well, let me ask you this then, because I could be totally wrong then. But when you say what I wonder what's going to go wrong now, when that thing does go wrong, whenever it goes wrong, isn't it kind of obvious? Like, wasn't it kind of like you knew that was one of the possible things that can go wrong?
Generally, yeah. Every now and again, something will pop up that's completely unexpected, but for the
Let's
most
just deal
part,
with the
yeah,
other things. So, what is it that you when it happens that you realize? Do you even look and say, "What can I do to prevent that particular thing from going wrong again?"
always,
Yeah, eh?
always, yeah. So I
And
always,
yet it.
and yet
Oh,
sometimes
you know what?
things still,
Right, right. Bottom line, you're a project manager. You don't make the decisions on who the company's hired, so there are a lot of elements out of your control.
right, right.
Yeah. Okay.
But some one thing that surprised me, we had we've been working on this project for 18 months, and the guys, the software developers on my team are extremely good, but the stuff on the mainframe side we kept having problems with because we didn't have a QA guy that can QA code on the mainframe, quality assurance. So consequently, we would sometimes, as we got into the deeper testing that you do right before you go live, we were finding things that were wrong. Um, and those things were kind of surprising because, we'd been in pretty active testing for months, and the fact
Okay.
that these things
I'm
never
gonna
showed up were
I'm
driving
gonna
me
interrupt. We're
nuts.
going to a new subject. Don't need
Okay,
to talk about that anymore. I got enough data to know.
okay.
Uh, um, so if you could just be doing writing with the clients you want to work for, would you, and it was making at least as much as you're making right now, would you like, and you knew it was consistent and it wasn't going to like, would you jump ship?
No,
Like if, no, so you like, so even if you could, yeah, so you like the job, you like a lot of it.
I do. Yeah,
What do
yeah.
you love most about it?
Bringing order out of chaos.
Me too.
Or I guess I should say seemingly bringing order out of chaos. Um, but there's a lot of planning, a lot of scheduling, a lot of looking down the road that's required, and I enjoy it, especially when I'm doing it well. I get pretty irritated with myself if I miss something. Um, but I usually, well, I like to think that I usually don't, but in this last project, things kept um, going sideways that I thought shouldn't have, that were um, that I could have better prepared for. Right. So, I mean, my lessons learned on this one is pretty thick.
Mhm. What do you most want to change in your business? Like, do you think that if you change that one thing, it could change everything?
If I could just, if I could start doing work on the business side of it the way I start doing work on my day job, you know, um, when it comes to the work that I do at the bank, with managing projects, um, it's pretty easy for me to get started on new tasks or blow into new areas and things like that. Um, switching tasks, going from planning to implementation, just do the constant ebb and flow of the work. I'm I like to think that I'm really good at it. But the problem I have is, when it's time to stop working for someone else and start working for me or start working for my family, that's when I seem to have trouble starting.
Yeah,
And it's like, my wife and son, they ask me to do something, and I'm more likely to say no than yes, coming right out of the gate, even though I'm generally happy doing it. I just, I tend to be disagreeable over it, you know.
yeah.
something easy like, my wife asks, says, it's time to fertilize the grass again. Can you do that this weekend? And I'll be a jerk about it. And then I'll still end up doing it. But I seem to have um, almost a reluctance to do things that are non-work related, uh, or non-day job related. Um, and then when I write, I do take a lot of pride in my work, and I generally do a good job. But and you've seen, doing as much work as I have for you, you've seen that, sometimes I'm right on the money, and sometimes I come out of left field. Um, and um, I don't, I wonder sometimes, um, I wonder sometimes why that is. I wonder how come I can't always get in the headspace. And I really like this quote from your integrity video, in an inspired and empowering context, because um, when I am, the words come easy and the words come fast. But if I'm not in that inspired and empowered context, it's extremely hard for me to get going. I struggled for days on this thing that should have just a landing page I was writing a guy. And I just struggled and struggled and struggled. And I finally forced myself to do something, and I'm not at all, I had to submit it, but I'm not at all satisfied with it. And I'm kind of hoping that he'll kick it back to me, with the revision request, um, with some ideas of what I haven't hit, something that'll trigger that feeling of integrity and empowerment with it. And I think that outside of my day job, I don't feel that with a lot of things.
Hmm. So, um, there's a lot there. So what's happening is definitely you're beating yourself up for, you're disappointed in yourself a lot, and you force yourself to get into the writing, and there's a lot of forcing yourself to do the things, right?
Hmm.
Not just in your business, but also in personal responsibilities, and
Yeah.
it's like hard to switch gears. And the reason for that is because that is completely normal. You're not the problem there. The problem, it's not even a problem. It's called momentum. If you study the work of Abraham Hicks, which is why we have this whole equivalent thing in the Integrity Choices site, um, it's called momentum. So once you are in momentum with something, let's say you're in momentum with your work, right? Your job, there's this, it means your thoughts, your thinking patterns, law of attraction, all that stuff, you're in this momentum, right? And then it's almost impossible to just switch the momentum.
Hmm.
Like it's you can't stop it. You're like, if you're enjoying it, it's like hard to, okay, now it's time to do this, right? And the same thing is like, sometimes you have writing projects, and you have an intention that, I got to carve out some time, I'm going to do it at this time. And yes, you have to, but you don't always bring your best into it, because you have no idea what momentum your thinking was in just before you're about to start it. Does that
Okay.
make sense? so
Yeah.
so so what you want to do, the whole game is what session is this for mission marketing?
It's number 5.
I strongly believe that you and Samina should just consider, don't answer it now, that after your 6th session, we put it on pause, because I know you don't have the time to do both, that the following week should be integrity choices. I think you should do 6 week on integrity choices. And I'll explain more about that later, but I'm just saying, I think that's something we might want to consider. Um,
I'm open to it.
yeah, yeah. See, what you should, what would really serve you, and I'm not saying we can do this right now on the call. I'm not sure if that's the best use of the time for this, because I don't want to start something that I can't complete, right? So maybe I'm just planting seeds right now in some of these areas. Um, but what I found is it as much as like a person like me who's like an addict who's been self-employed for 30 years because I refuse to be told what to do. I refuse to be controlled, even by my own structures, even by my own promises. Like I hate being controlled, and sometimes I'm even controlled by my own promises. Meaning, like I said, I was going to do it, therefore I got to do it. But then, no matter how hard I try, I can't enjoy it. So then, you might as well have not done anything. So I was saying to Samina that I am so rich right now. Like I feel what it felt like when I was helping addicts every single day. I told Sabina, I said, I used to have an appointment at 9 a.m., then one at noon, then one at 3 p.m. It was all free. And somehow I accidentally made over 100 grand while I wasn't working on my business. Right. But I did end up, like, eventually ended up going bankrupt for the first time because I wasn't structuring anything with my actual business. Right. I didn't structure anything that way. And now what's awesome is that, I mean, I have this amazing structure. I love helping people for free. I love helping addicts so much. And I just tried to pretend that I didn't for 15 years because it, like, I went broke and I'm constantly fucking struggling. School programs and, just like, and I wasn't like that when I was a headhunter. And so what I learned from it, it's just I have to structure out a routine that I like, that I love. And so I like to start my day, you know, like doing what I love and doing it responsibly 2 hours max. And then that from doing that, boom, it just throws me into momentum with everything else. And that's just one example. But from what I can tell from what you've said, and just observing and knowing patterns in general, because is that you don't have a reliable structure for yourself. Like you're married, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Samina had shared with me, just a little bit about that brief dynamic that goes on. That's not really the most enjoyable, let's just say that. Right.
Yeah,
but
sometimes.
but yeah, right, sometimes is. And it sounds to me like basically she's, I don't want to say she's needy. It's not like that. It's just like she misses you and she wants some time with you. I'm your wife, but it sounds like it's kind of like inconsistent. There's nothing that's really like either that or like she just expects more than you could possibly give. But is there anything specific that you've structured it, that this is my time with my wife, or is it just whenever you can fit it in like the rest of your life?
Um, the only I in an effort to lose weight, I've always been involved in um, strength sports. In particular, Highland. I got involved in Highland Games about 10 years ago, and I was hoping that first of all, the camaraderie of being around other people who are interested in physical strength and that kind of thing. I hadn't really had a group like that since I played rugby in college. And so I started doing that, and I hurt my hip really badly. Well, I shouldn't say really badly. I,
Whatever, you
I
hurt your hip.
yeah, I hurt my hip,
Go on.
and I've had a lingering um, knee injury since when I was in the Marines, and so nowadays um, walking is fairly difficult for me, so I can't. And my wife has always been an outdoors person. When we first started seeing each other and first got married, we used to go on a ton of hikes and stuff like that. And so now she and our son Eric do that, and I can't really do those things with them anymore.
Okay, so but I'm just talking about, do you structure time, or would that even matter for her, or is it just like you guys are kind of incompatible? Not to suggest divorce or anything like that.
No,
I'm
yeah.
just saying, like, just you love each other and you guys have the freedom to go do what you want, and maybe sometimes she would, wishes you would do what she wanted more.
Um, I know she wishes that I would, when it comes to, just general upkeep stuff on the house. She wishes I would notice things and take care of them instead of wait until she asked me to do them. Um, I've
Yeah,
never,
yeah.
I've never
So
been.
that's all. This is all bullshit symptom stuff of something
Okay.
deeper, right? Like people keeping their withholds, like, people keeping secrets or whatever, or just like living in resentment. Nothing you can control about that. She wishes that. She wishes that. I'm just talking about. It's not like. Do you enjoy spending time with her?
Mm,
Not a lot, right?
no, not
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah.
She's
Okay, good, good, good. That's it. End of that topic. Okay, because what we want to do is structure time with the things that you enjoy. So let me see what your what time is absolutely can't be fucked with. This would be what you do in integrity choices, by the way. I'm like kind of going in. This has turned into something I didn't expect, but this is like session 5 of integrity choices often that Samina does, um, where you structure things. So right now you get up at 7:30, you go to work. That's Monday. And then what time do you get home from work most days?
I usually wrap at 5, and now with COVID, my I work in front of my bed, as you can see.
Yeah,
Um,
but what time do you get back from work?
5.
So you get back from work, and then typically, what do you do? Do you eat, or you already did that?
Um,
What's the routine look like? I'm just going to look at the routine.
okay. Well, I think part of the thing is we don't have um, as organized a routine as I'd like. Eric's a senior in college, and
No, just answer my questions.
uh,
I
oh,
just want to know. I just want to break down. If I were to be a fly in the wall looking at you, I would be able to say, yes, he told the truth. This is his work time slots. You know, so
yeah.
7:30 an alarm goes off, and then you get in the car and head to work. Or I don't need a really, this part's easy for me because this is not self-employment stuff, so I'm not even looking for ineffective things you're doing. I just need to know how much of your mental energy and your time is on work, and what does it look like on a Monday. 7:30 alarm goes off, go to work. What time do you get back?
Quarter after 5.
So 5:15 you get back. And then what do you do? What's the first thing you do when you walk in the door at 5:15?
Um, say hi to Marianne, say hi to Eric, um, and then I go downstairs into my room and turn the computer on. And so I don't. Um,
And what do
and the
you
thing,
do at 5:30, 6 o'clock? Watch porn, or what do you do?
uh, no, I'm usually getting on fire. I'll check my email. If I feel like getting into the echo chamber, I'll get on Facebook, um, and listen to other screaming lefties like me talk about screaming lefty things. Um, or but we don't have a set time for dinner, so it's hard for me to think about getting
Okay,
a
okay,
little bit.
okay. Okay, so you come back, you come in. That's good. And then you say hi and you get on the computer. So like in your mind, coming home, gonna get on the computer. Now, before you walk in the door, you already know you're getting on the computer. It's just so common. What are you looking forward to? Like you're looking forward to going on the computer, or is it just it's a habit really?
Um, I look forward to it because I work in technology and I live on it.
Yeah. But what I mean
So
is, do you look forward to coming in because like, yay, I might have another gig on fire. Yeah, no, right?
yeah. Um, um, Let me think about that for a minute. It's not something I've given a heck of a lot of thought
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah. Take as much time as you need. Absolutely. We don't think about these things. Absolutely.
Yeah, because during the workday I don't have much time to hit news sites, and I don't and now that I don't have a commute, I no longer listen to the radio on the way into work. I used to listen to NPR every morning, and that's how I kind of catch up on what's going on in the world around me. Um,
So you're a project manager that works from home right now.
right now, yeah.
Got it. Got it.
And yeah, our the bank was, I think they started having us work from home 2 weeks before other companies did, which kind of surprised me. But I thought that was pretty awesome. Um, so uh, yeah.
So yeah, so at 5:15 your workday ends. Are you working in that room there?
Mhm. Yeah, and so a lot of times what happen, well, nowadays, um, since I don't have much time away out of the house, which is a good thing about having a job to go to, because then you can,
Yeah.
you can leave home and go to the job, and then you can leave the job and come home. So a
Right,
lot of
right.
times what I do is I'll go out for a drive. So when I get
Very
when I
good. Yeah, yeah.
day
Got it.
out
Good.
of the house, take a
Good.
drive,
Yeah.
um, and then come home and try to slip into the evening.
That's smart. Yeah. So you physically break the energy of home office by getting out, going for a drive, and then coming back at around 5:15, right?
No, right
Or do you
now
go for the drive at
I
5:15?
go for the drive at 5:15,
Yeah, yeah,
and
that's
usually back by
beautiful.
6.
That's very smart. That's very smart. Good. Now, great. This is so good. That is very healthy. So when you go for the drive, it causes you to get into a meditation thing, which actually stops the momentum or slows it down, which is really good because you got all this momentum about the job in the bank. Then you get in the car. Now you're focused on driving, right? So
Mhm.
it's hard. You can't think about all of that. You're focused on driving. Yeah, there's some thoughts, but it's a very good thing to dismantle the momentum. When I say momentum, I mean thought momentum. Thought momentum. It's brilliant. Okay.
Okay.
So it will it is it's brilliant. So and it works. I know for a fact. And now, what type of thoughts start slipping in? This is so good because now
Um,
that thought stops or slows down, now God can enter with His creative things or the inspiration. You can. It's clear now. What are
um,
the types of thoughts that you're not thinking that occasionally are dropping in on you or that you find yourself thinking about as you're driving?
mm, Wonder what I'm going to get criticized about next. Um,
Interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep going.
um, Wondering how long we're going to have to wait until dinner, because the one thing that we try to keep holy around here is we always the three of us always have dinner together. Um,
Don't need
but
to know the story. I only got two
okay, yeah,
hours.
yeah.
That's the only
So
reason.
okay,
That's why
So,
Trevor. That's why Trevor came up with 500 an hour. We don't spend any time listening to stories.
oh, that's good. Yeah. So, uh, the 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 things I wonder about while I'm driving frequently are, what's gonna what's gonna bite me in the ass when I get home.
And the type of things that it could be are like, is it literally I wonder, or is it like I wonder if it's going to be my wife, my kid, or a message from work?
Usually it's going to be, what should I have done? What should I have done around the house that I didn't do that I'm going to get called on? Um, because I mean,
And would you say that in the world of the three things I mentioned, wife, kids, or whatever, wife, job, or maybe fiber clients, wife is at 60%?
oh yeah,
Oh, you mean higher?
no, I think 60%
It's the
is
right
right.
number. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then what are the other things?
Um,
The other 40% would be a combination of what other types of things are you expecting that you could be criticized for?
um, well, I know I'm going to get criticized for my weight. Um, I know I'm going to
Yeah.
get criticized for not taking an interest in doing more things around the house. Um, and so that's the negative side of it. And then the positive side of it is
Well, I
if
don't want
I'm
to know the positive side right now.
oh
I'm staying, especially because I got ADHD. I'm so aware of how easily I can go on tangents.
yeah,
Boom. I want to stay on getting the data out of, almost lost it. You go for a drive, and mostly you're thinking about, I wonder what I'm going to get criticized
criticize
for.
about yeah.
So
I
it's
wouldn't
like we already talked. There's 60% is your wife. I don't need to know the details because you're paying me 500 an hour in my mind, right? Don't need to hear
right.
go into that bullshit. And then, and then what is the other 40% of the
Um,
possible things that you're thinking could be who's criticizing you other than your wife?
what am I going to call myself out on for things that I either did incompletely or incorrectly? What am I going to hold myself responsible for um, not doing?
So,
So
so in
basically,
other words,
what have I forgotten to do?
right, right. And so in your world, you criticize yourself for it, right? You're just
Mhm.
so used to fucking up, kind of.
Yeah.
But you're
But,
good with it. Like the one thing, it's like you found an acceptance,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like I came back to you at the right time for you too, because I accepted that I know Johnny, right, and I know what I'm walking into here, right?
I know he can't deliver on time to save his fucking life,
Well, no,
but I can
sometimes
work
you
with him
do.
anyway.
Well, it's like you're. Well, let me just cut to the chase. Here's one thing that I say is a possible niche market, right? It doesn't mean that you have to stay in this niche market, but let me tell you something, Johnny, is are you the greatest copywriter? Of course you're not. Are you a good copywriter? Yes, you are. Are you a ghostwriter? Kind of. Here's what I would say about Johnny. And I've hired like a lot of writers better than you on Fiverr over 15 years, and I've
Mhm.
hired a lot of them that are worse, right? But I've done enough gigs to be able to say this is what I would say about Johnny. And here's why I love coming to you. Like, it may have been a shock to you when I said I don't believe I've ever made money from any of my writing with you. Like, I might be wrong, but why would I come back? Like knowing that because,
That's what I
right?
wanted to do.
Yeah, because of this. Well, that integrity manifesto is my life. Like that's it's not to say I'm perfect at it, but it's just that's why I teach it so I get better at it. Blah blah blah. But the thing is, I've had copywriters write, and it's amazing, but I don't like it because it's not, it doesn't represent me. Right? I love working with you because you will try to find that balance between, you know, my message and turning my message into a sales piece. Like I feel like, you know, if you want to have copy, really good copy, where the writer is absolutely committed to expressing your voice and being your voice. And do you know how many writers, by the way, the good ones on Fiverr, that, you know, they they don't care if they slightly exaggerate or lie as part of their, and they're good. Like, I mean, you know, like
Mhm.
fucking charge a lot, and I've used them too. But they have no issue with misrepresenting you, like slightly
Right.
or even blatantly. All they care about is, you know, this incredible copy that is like exactly perfect. You know what I mean? Like there's scientific principles that go into
Yeah.
persuading and manipulating someone. I find that you're like in between. So for somebody like me who actually cares about my message, like I don't want to have a piece of writing out there that doesn't, that even slightly doesn't represent my message, just so
Right.
that
You
it will
don't.
convert. I'd rather
Right.
take, okay, your headline could use improvement or whatever, and I like the fact that we're working together. That's
Hmm.
another thing that is unique about you, John. I just realized it now. On Fiverr, you know, a lot of these people, um, that, like, it's just like they're the writer and you can't even talk to them, which is blows me away. How do you, you know, how do you do, like, yeah. So on Fiverr, you hire the writer and he's good, and then he writes something. And then, like, the writers don't want to work with you,
Hmm.
right? It's just like, right? But you're willing to. You have, it's like you have humility. Uh, like I work with you. That's what I feel like it's like with you, Johnny. We can work together. You're almost like Samina, like in a sense, like she works with you to implement something. It's like you're a really good writer, right? And Samina and I can be amazing writers if we're fortunate enough to get inspired enough to have that creativity flow, and then we can channel something on occasion. But it's so unpredictable,
Hmm.
right? But we can't do good or really good consistently like you do. See what I mean?
Hmm.
Like you're able to just, like, no matter how fucked up things are and your energy and your momentum, your thoughts, and you had a little bit amount of time, you're a really good writer. I could imagine you'd be like over the top if you were just focused on that. But what's great is you are a really good writer, and and sometimes you nail a masterpiece, but that's pretty hard to do if you can't talk to the person.
It is.
Right? I don't even know how anyone could do it. I wouldn't even get in that business. That's why I saw something where if the three of us worked together, I think, you know, if this worked as a, you know, you would just love it. You know, I just freaking ask the right questions, pull it all out, send the video to you, and then I got everything you need. So there's like no risk in you nailing it. But
Hmm.
anyway, I diverted back into that. This is about you. I don't know how you would actually language this, but we're working together here right now, bro.
Yeah.
And you have this thing that is very unique. It's like a blend of ghostwriting, being your voice, even you, to even sometimes using my language because you know me that this is like language that I love, right? You're not
Hmm.
guaranteeing that I'm going to make money, right?
I'd like to,
So
but I
I
don't.
know,
Yeah.
but that's what's that has no integrity. That's what I mean. It's like to put a headline like that. You want to make money, unless you like you know for a fact that that's what you do and you consistently pull it off. You don't know, and everybody's playing that headline.
Hmm.
That's why, like for Smina, like I found her thing, right? You can't be playing and you can't be competing with people, Samina. Like you're that's a that is a the whole. mission marketing and all that stuff. Don't compete there. You can't win. You don't have any real success stories in that area. But here's what I know. Holy shit, you are really good at this thing that nobody else, I didn't even know it existed. And that's the thing about you, John. No, I don't see anybody marketing this. I see everybody competing to be a better, like I'm a copywriter. And then you're going to have people go to your website and you're going to try to do the best copy to get them in. And that's a pretty hard game to win anyway, because you have to build an audience first. We're going to talk about that today. And like, there's nothing unique about you in terms of I'm a copywriter, and then I'm going to write, speak to copywriters that are companies or whatever. But I think there are people just like me that care about the integrity of their message, that they want to read that piece and feel proud, like that was their message. In fact, my ghostwriter for my book, I remember the way I wrote that book is I said, Eric, I'm going to run a marathon every month, one a month, because at some point around 25K, all my fear, like I'm gone, like it's like I've transcended. Something happens, Eric, and I'm going to go into every marathon, and I'm going to ask God to give me the next lesson or the next chapter, or whatever it is that I'm supposed to speak about, that is about like the answer to all addictions. And then I'm going to call you from the marathon whenever it happens. You be on call and you tape record whatever I say to you. And that's how my book was written. It was written in like that. But my point is this, that's not that. This is my point. Is he would send the first draft to me, and he'd nail it every time. And I said, holy shit, Eric, you are the best. You are the best. And then he would say, Scott, those are your words. No, Eric, those are not my words. Yeah, Eric, Scott, those are your words. All I did was organize your words, right? ADHD boy. All I did was take your words, take your voice, take your language. And the reason you love my writing, Scott, is because it's your words. He literally would transcribe what I did, what I said, and then just make it not so ADHD, put it down in a way that,
But he was able to capture your voice and your intention.
Yeah. And you somehow have been able to do that, even with me, kind of right from the beginning, even though you don't have the advantage of being able to talk to me. I think that is, that could be a huge niche for you, is that I'm the writer that will talk to you. In fact, if we don't talk, we don't work together. It's a condition of my doing business with you. Now all of a sudden you can raise your rates because you're not giving them what they want.
I'm just making some notes.
Oh yeah, that's one to write down for sure.
I'm just gonna step out and get some coffee. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Thanks. Like that could you could almost play with that as a hook, right?
Yeah, and
the writer that actually talks with you, the writer that writes with you.
Because here's one of the things I belong to a writers group, and they have a lot of courses and stuff specific to copywriting, and one of the things they talk about when you're getting clients, and this was something I had a bit of a problem with, and I have to admit that when I first started working with you, because you would send me videos and stuff like that, would drive me nuts.
Of course.
The reason is, I'm a decent writer because I like to communicate in writing, and I like to be communicated with in writing, right? Well, the people who hire writers are the opposite. They're verbal,
Exactly.
And
do you know how many writers too I've had say, sorry, I don't have time to watch the video? Then I would say, then cancel the gig right now, because if I could communicate in writing, the answer to your questions, I wouldn't have
need to hire a
hired you.
writer. Exactly. And so I've gotten more open about it, because prior to that, I don't think, other than you, there was no one on Fiverr that I was working with that, that closely, where we were in communication like that. Because, I would send you questions, and then you would send me a video of you responding to the questions while you're on the treadmill or something like that.
Oh, wow. That's how
And
long we've been together, when I used
yeah,
to be on that treadmill.
yep,
Holy shit, that's a while. That's 12 years ago.
yeah. And, but I've noticed, especially recently, I've done some work with a couple of guys, and actually, funny, one of them lives in Calgary, um, which isn't that where Trevor is? Or is he in Edmonton?
Yeah, he's in Edmonton.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it's only an hour and a half away, right?
I'm always listening to what you're saying and asking myself, is this related to what we're doing? So
Yeah.
do I need to hear this story? So tell me why I need to listen to this.
Um,
If you're just saying I agree with you, then we don't need
well,
to keep talking.
yeah, no, just that I've implemented a little bit. I've been a lot more, or I've been a lot less resistant to getting on the phone or getting on a Zoom call,
Okay.
with people over the last couple of months, and probably because we've been doing it a lot, at work, right? So we do a lot
Yeah.
of these meetings on Microsoft Teams. So I'm getting more comfortable with doing that. But I used to be extremely resistant, when working with a writing client. I used to be extremely resistant to getting on the phone with them and having a conversation like this. You kind of forced that on me, and it turned out, I thought that again, I was able to write much more consistently with your voice and your intention, because of the fact that I was taking that time. And so I was just pointing out that recently I've done that with a couple of other people, where I've gotten on the phone with them and let them talk to me in their voice.
So let's come
And it's
back
been a
to
good thing.
so let me come back to something here. Hold on. Here, I just started again, because that I send you right to the end, if you just take it, when you started to basically say yes, you're right, and this is that, just don't even watch that. Just listen to when I said this, whatever I said that I forgot, those exact words are like something that is not provided, that's very unique.
Hmm. Right. The fact that I'm willing to
To be your ghost, to be your
yeah,
voice, and
yeah,
to
to learn
sell,
you.
to learn
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Like if you go on Fiverr, and I've tried over the years, right, to try to find a ghost writer that can write my sales copy. And people on Fiverr, if they're smart, they stay in their lane.
Mhm.
I ghost write fiction. I ghost write this, right? But you're like the ghost. You're like the ghost writer
I ghostwrite your
for,
copy.
yeah, right. And when someone hears the word ghost copy, right, that's an elevated value. Like my ghost writer was 12,000 or something like that for the
Right,
book.
right.
So the
So
go
instead of
the
so
I
so
ghost write your copy. What does that mean? There's your hook. I ghost write your copy. What does that mean? It's your voice.
yeah, it means I learned to write in your voice
Your voice.
and capture your intention in a way that another writer might not.
I think there's a lot of people like me that, even though I might have had my financial challenges basically through the whole time I've known you, ever since I went into, like, from the addiction to schools and all that, but I still have that abundance thing that, is I still feel like, you know, I I was abundant and I did not need money. I needed to have my message out honestly.
Hmm.
And I cared more about that than manipulating someone. And I believe, abundant people, there's a market for it. I think people with money want to have that person that can be their voice and have it convert. And I know you know enough, and if you also say, I'm your partner. We work together. I'm not just your writer, right? Like, here's how the process works. And you say, I'll never nail it the first time. Like, because that's a hook. I'll never nail it the first time. Takes the pressure off you. Because for some reason, I've had an experience with you. Sometimes you nail it, sometimes you don't. But dude, nailing it is fucking awesome. If you can nail it, nail it. You know, the first time, you know, maybe out of 10 gigs, and if you can nail it 1 out of 10 on the first draft, I think that's phenomenal. But in other words, tell them you can't count on me for that. I won't nail it the first time. That's great because no one else is nailing it the first time anyway, but no one's actually, you know, coming out with that as a hook. One of the offers I created for Samita just before we got back connected with you is this passion projects offer we made up, and it was about like a trial, $1 trial. Then if you liked it, 30 days later, be $500 a month, and we had a few people take it. And my hook was, I want you to fuck me over. I did this video that said, I want you to fuck me over. I want you to use me. I want you to take advantage of me. Come in here and fuck me over. Even if you have an intention that you're not going to hire us, it's okay. Come in and fuck us over. Just because at the time Samita really wanted, you know, the email list has been blasted, never nurtured. So it's just like, you know, we're going to do another email blast. Probably won't work. And at the very least, we got to get somebody into this thing. And it really worked. But I was like saying something like that's the importance of the hook. Something has got to stand out. Like you don't want to sound like another copywriter or another ghostwriter or another writer on Fiverr. So far we got 2 really great ideas for hooks.
Yeah.
What do you like about what I said, and what do you kind of doesn't feel right?
Actually, it all feels right. Because I mean, I've never bought somebody else's writing service, so I don't know what other writers do. I don't know what to expect, but I do know that it's pretty important to me to be, you know, when you talk about being in integrity with what you're doing, it's important for me to capture certain things, right? Yeah. It's important for me to be able to capture where you're coming from and what it is that you want to do. And then if I can do that and also write copy that converts, then that makes me happy. You know, if I can do something, even if it's not something directly I do, but if it's something, you know, where I've given a kernel of truth and then you end up running with it, then I feel good about that.
Yeah, that's the thing too, and so do I. So I want it because you don't have this feedback, because you know people don't really like to give feedback or people's feelings, and I care about the truth because feelings don't, you know, I can make you feel good, but then your life's the same. Is like when you did that email sequence for me, I didn't end up in the end using it that way. But had you not done it, I wouldn't have been able to edit it. Like it was amazing that sequence you wrote, and then I was able to run with it. And then, you know, because only I know how that message hits an addict, right? So I could take that, and it's like you gave me my story, you gave me a structure, and that I can work within, and now I can like make it my own. And I think that's important. I think, especially in mission marketing, because we say that, you know, mission marketing, you have to own your own marketing. Yes, you can delegate, but you have to own it. You know, you could delegate some of the tasks, but you still have to own it. Like you can do the best you can, and still, I'm going to make some tweaks if I care about honesty.
Right. And I don't, it doesn't bother me when somebody makes changes to what I do before they publish it. And I've noticed.
I'm the author. I'm the writer that won't nail it the first time. In fact, I never nail it. you and I nail it. If you're looking for a relationship with a writer that actually cares enough about the result that will take the time to understand your message, right? And is absolutely committed that whatever it takes, we're going to nail it, then reach out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're going to nail it, not you.
I like that.
And it's because it's honest. It's not even possible. How is any writer, especially on Fiverr, how could they possibly nail it? And here's how. If the person who is the client doesn't care how you get people to convert, like it doesn't really care about the message, just that looks great. Oh my God, that's so amazing. If you don't actually care to participate in your brand and you're just out to like close the deal and make the funnel work, and that's it, then I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
And you might be the guy for someone who already has their funnel working, right? And they're making money. Money's not the issue, but I'd really like to transform, my messages so it feels more like it's me.
Yeah. Yeah. So this has given me a lot of ideas for redoing my copy, and I have to say something that both of you have done that have made me rethink my thing. So like when you tore apart that copy that I sent, that was rough to hear, but it was true. I mean, I had totally missed all the things that I was supposed to do with that copy. I hadn't done a good job of setting myself apart or anything else. I said that my intention was to go towards a higher end client, but then I was writing to them as if they were a novice at business. And then something Samina said, I said that I was going after a certain type of person, and she said, well, how many of those have you actually done? And it's like, well, I haven't. So now I'm also rethinking the way I target that message,
Yeah,
and the type of companies I go after.
and that's why it was great what Savina said, like, because she's just trying to like make your messaging honest. Like with the Trevor message, like I'll definitely be like changing it in some way. Like it makes it seem like this is what I do, and I want to honestly say I've done this once with Trevor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I find that when it's just authentic and honest, right? People like it. People actually they love it. Like when I closed Trevor, I was like, Trevor, I've never done this before. Yep. You know that when I go in there, I don't even know what I'm going to do. Yep, I know how you work now. So, okay, so here's what it's going to look like. So, we think that we got to put all of this this stuff to like make it seem like we're something we're not. That's why Samina asked that question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because people will gravitate more to the weakness, and a lot of times like, oh, this is refreshing, I could trust this guy, he's never actually done it, and he's
Mm-hmm.
saying that he's never done it.
Right.
And by the way, the fact that you failed so miserably in your mind with your own copy, being a copywriter, is actually just proof that I'm right. Your
Mm-hmm.
thing, just like Samina is an implementation person, we just never had a name for this experience, so now we've given a name, right? Of course you're going to fail on your own copy, right? Because you work best when you're working together with someone. And isn't it more enjoyable anyway?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the dude in Calgary, great guy, finance, data heavy, analysis, and I must have worked with him for 2 hours. And I mean, I never give anybody that much time. Because my goal is, when I'm writing for someone that's not you guys, my goal is to make about $100 an hour.
Yeah.
And so I charge for my premium phone script, I charge $200. And I spent 2 hours on the phone with him, not writing anything. But the reason was, one of the things that excites me is taking somebody with a great business idea that doesn't know how to sell, and explaining to them how they can sell and still be in integrity with their own message. So I mean, I took him through this entire process of, this is how you sell a consulting service. you know this is, you show value by the questions you ask, and then this is how you wrap everything up, and these are the closing words you use to put around it in order to get action. But see, the thing is, you're never misrepresenting yourself, so you never feel like you're being a sleazeball, which is
Yeah.
one of the big problems that thinkers have, and especially engineer types. It's like, I can't do that, I can't lie to make a sale, and the truth is, you don't have to.
That's
Right?
right.
Some people
But
choose to.
my point is that you work best, you enjoy it more. Like if you if you if it was just all about getting 5-star ratings, well, first of all, I know that's not how you operate, but you still make sure you satisfy the client to get one if you can. But it's not about that with you, right? It's like you want to do a great job, and it's way more enjoyable what you just talked about. Being with a real human being, connecting with them and problem solving together, and then yeah, I'm gonna write, right? It is about connecting with the human being, not just this name, right? And then I get my 5 stars on this stranger that I never got to really know. Especially if you're part time, right? Especially when you got a full time job. Like it's almost like, you know, I'm, my time is more scarce than anybody's here on Fiverr, so that's why I charge my high fees. In fact, you know what I did at a moment of inspiration 2 months ago when I got this idea for the first time. I got the idea of this thing that I shared with you and Samina. It it started out with, and I did these audios that I never sent you. I don't know where they are. Doesn't matter. But I created a new Fiverr account 2 months ago, and I imagined that I was going to hire you. That I do one like that. Here's what the offer is. Talk to me. Are you tired of working with Fiverr writers, and those writers like they don't really nail it, and you're having to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then you get your fake 5-star, right? I consult with you, videotape the whole consultation on the exact project that you're going to write for someone, and then you pay me for that, and then I send that video off to, and then you send this video to the writer that you're going to work with. But I imagined it was you, like that. It
Mhm.
was like my Fiverr gig is this. I'm a business. I do this. We talk about your project, and I have this writer that we're going to work with together, and and we're going to nail it. It's actually what I just said you should be doing. That's what
Yeah.
I imagine, like having a Fiverr gig, just one as an experiment, and
Right.
charging a lot of money for the gig.
And that's what I think that's what Samina and I were trying to capture in that offer stack, was the way those things all work together. Because doing what you do when you interview somebody, when you pull things out of them, for me as a writer, that gives me invaluable information on
Of
where that
course.
person's coming from. It makes it much more likely that I'll be able to capture their voice to see something like that. And it's worth the fact that I have to sit through 3 hours of video in order to capture
Exactly.
that nugget, because it makes the copyright itself.
That's right. You said nugget. That's exactly. I had like, yeah, I could pull out their gold, and it's their gold because you see their eyes, their energy, their physiology. Like at
Hmm.
some point in every conversation, there it is, right? It's the spirit talking. That's all I'm doing, poking around, and then at some point, it surprises me too. There it is.
Yep.
There it is. There's the spirit talking, meaning all of a sudden there's this freedom and like you just come alive. The person comes alive. And it's like, that's it. It doesn't matter if I agree with it. That's it. That's where we start now. Like 11/11 was a total hit, and it shouldn't have been a total hit, but it was because it was designed all around knowing Samina's situation and her vulnerabilities and what she could do and could not do. And it was a total hit.
Mm-hmm. This I like the email that I wrote in Trevor's voice. It may not be completely in Trevor's voice yet, but this makes me want to make some changes to the landing page copy I wrote for you.
Hold on until I give you some feedback, because
I
know he's not going to like the email.
No, and I figured
didn't read it all. It's because he doesn't want to make it look like I saved his company, not publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Because, anyway, I'm guessing. I don't want you to risk any of your time until I talk to Trevor about it.
Okay. Yeah, I was talking more about the landing page copy than the email, because I know I don't know Trevor well enough yet to capture his voice. You know,
we don't want to be talking about me during your session.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
You got that, Samina? Cut it off sooner. Okay, good.
All right. So what I've learned so far is that I like working in deeper integrity with people and making sure that I capture their voice. And I have written none of that into my own personal copy. And I think that'll be a game changer. So that's the first thing I take from this conversation is a clearer idea of what I want and how I want to work with people.
And the second thing you do is you take apart what I've said and write my testimonial for you that is fully in alignment with what we're selling. It's in here. Joel Bauer says something, and it's like amazing. He says, if I go to your website and I see you talking about you are broke.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if I go to your website and I see other people talking about you, you're doing well. You're not broke. So
right, and
that's a very powerful testimonial. Sometimes you just need one, right? If it's like, because look at my testimony is, I've been on Fiverr for whatever. We could tell our story, right?
Yeah.
We only got to meet for the first time on July 1st on a Zoom, right? This is a powerful story. It's called a success story. And here's what I had to say about comparing you to everybody else. And then make it so that I say, he's not the best at this. He's not the best. Like, that is a believable testimonial. Right? Because all of a sudden, it's not just a testimonial anymore. People are going to go, this is believable. Because we all know you can hire someone in Fiverr to write a bullshit testimonial, right? So you can't even believe these testimonials anyway. That's why it's like, it's either going to be video or if it's a written testimony. And I want you to say, and by the way, I hired Johnny to write my well, not hired, say, I actually had John write my testimony in full disclosure. Mm-hmm. Holy fuck, this guy's unique. This sounds like somebody's not going to scam me. Right? Because he's honest to a fault here. It actually is attractive. Because I'm explaining, this is my experience of 15 years. I've hired 40, 400, 500. I'll look at the numbers so it's accurate. I've hired this many writers. And, does he deliver on time? No, he doesn't. As a matter of fact, that's why I had to take a break from him. But then when COVID happened, I came back to the only writer that I cared, and I came back to him, even though 70% of the time he doesn't deliver on time. Like, actually fucking say it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? Especially if it's I know this isn't a Fiverr thing, but on Fiverr, bro, You know how many Fiverr writers? It's like not you are so refreshing, bro. So many of these Fiverr writers, you know, or you can tell they're under pressure, and they send you the thing right under the deadline, and it's shit. It's like, and they know it's shit. They know it's shit, but they got it in, and now they're in the revision process. Like you don't do that. You'll actually take the let. That's why for you, I couldn't give you bad ratings. Maybe I did once, maybe if the meaning that wasn't 5 star. But I said I would tell you I
I'm
can't
just
give
not
you
going
a
to give
rating.
you, yeah,
No,
I'm
because
just
I'm
not going
not
to
going to
rate this
answer
one.
those questions they ask you. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yeah.
You would get 2 stars from me every time. Like the questions aren't even fair. How is the communication back and forth? Was it reliable or something like? It's like the only thing I could say is he gets 5 stars on that he delivered a great work in the end. But then if I'm honest, well then you end up with 2 to 3 stars on the other because they don't even ask enough questions for you to get a fair shot. So
Mhm.
I know all of these fucking 5 star ratings on Fiverr, they're bullshit. They're not honest. It's like, oh, I'll make it up to you. And then they wow you because they fucked you over. At least you're refreshingly honest that you won't send in. Maybe even say that. Have you ever had a Fiverr writer? I would do that. If it's for Fiverr, have you ever had a Fiverr writer, or maybe many of them, you know, send in their first draft, and when you received it, you knew that they knew that that wasn't their first draft, and they basically got caught, and they chose to play the game of Fiverr of just sending it to you early, just sending it to you, even if it was shit or if it was nothing, and knowing that the review process is going to happens now, and that they know that they've got a hold of you because you can't afford to start all over with a new writer. Oh my God, this is it. This is speaking to the customer. You can't afford to start with a new writer because you've already invested this time, and so you actually you are vulnerable to the writer, so you have to play in their dynamic, and you don't complain when you should, because if you do, the writer will cancel the project, and so you kiss their ass. And I had to do that in the beginning, and then as soon as I get now any warning sign, you got a problem with video, cancel it now. Like
Mhm.
I won't get sucked into this anymore. But this is what the majority of people are doing on Fiverr. Graphic designers, all of them, they're not like you, Johnny. That's why I'm back with the guy who's the most unreliable, because he's honest about it. And most important, you're not going to play the Fiverr game, and you're not going to capitalize or on the power you actually have over me now. It's been 2 weeks. It's been 3 weeks. My deadline's this. I know that if I speak up, you'll cancel my project and fuck me over. So you want to tell the story of the Fiverr person? There's the avatar. That's the avatar. The ideal client you want on Avatar is somebody who has gone through that experience more than once, and they know that what I'm saying is the truth. And sometimes when I have done negative reviews, and I do them, right? Just not with you. I'll do them, and I'll even say, I know I'm putting myself at risk telling the truth here, because now the Fiverr person is going to respond, and he's going to say negative things about me, and I'm choosing to put this review anyway. And I have no malice here. Like, people won't even like. That's what I would be speaking about in a really delicate way.
Mhm.
Because how many people, Fiverr customers, are gonna be riveted by that message? I think a lot, because this is the fucking game everybody's playing in Fiverr. It has no integrity. It's a power trip. Nobody cares about the customer, not really. They are just a number. Like, we don't want to connect with you, because if I do, then it's going to be hard to fire you. I'd rather just play this game where we hide behind, and you're just a person. You're just a person who's sending me a message with the name of Habit Master. I want to be disconnected from you. I
Mhm.
want to not care, because you have to be that in Fiverr to get, you know, to get lots of gigs.
Yeah, to get the volume. Thanks. That's really helpful.
How so? And how can it be helpful?
Well, it's going to allow me to
Excuse me. Hey, Google, turn on the air. Go ahead.
because it's helping me to niche myself better. You know, it's
helping you know your customer, the experience they have, the frustration they have, everything that inside of Fiverr only, though, this matters.
Yeah.
That is the world of every fucking person like me, who's hired a number of writers. And, and I often say, maybe this is law of attraction. We've attracted each other for different reasons. I often say, I'm the guy of last resort. Please go everywhere else first. Then, if it doesn't work, I'm here. As a headhunter, I charge 1/3 the first year's total anticipated annual compensation, including bonuses, incentives, and other incentives earned within 18 months. And people would say, what? I don't pay, what? Yeah, you shouldn't hire me. You only come to me when all my competition is failed and you need that miracle. Then I'm 1/3.
Right.
And I find this has been a pattern with me, is that, come to me after you understand the value of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I want it. Harvey McKay used to say this: my goal is to be your second choice.
I loved Harvey McKay.
Yeah, me too. The Harvey 66 questions or whatever. Never did that, but I liked his attitude. I really loved the fact that I just want to be number two. And that's what I was, right? Listen, just give me a shot. If when everybody else fails, my fee is the highest. I get it, almost double everybody else. But give me a shot, and you'll see why people pay me that. Right? I just want to be your first choice after, right? I want to be number two. I want to be your number two guy. And I'm number two because I'm the most expensive, and you only come to me when you understand clearly you need the value that I provide.
Right.
And that's what I'd be speaking to in Fiverr. I'm not just another writer. In fact, if you've got writers that, in fact, if you've never used a writer on Fiverr, I'd suggest you don't hire me. Because because people, what I find is people understand the value that I provide and have no issue with the price I charge, because they understand the value of their time, they understand the value of their message, and more importantly, they've had a lot of experiences working with writers with the type of dynamic I just explained to you, John, about the games people play. You wouldn't be violating, a rule there, would you? If you put me in as a testimony right on Fiverr?
No.
Yeah,
no.
Because would you be breaking a rule if you said those negative things about the Fiverr system? Would Fiverr come out and say tone that down?
I don't know.
But they're not going to shut you down. At the very least, they might say we don't like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What they'll do is they'll cancel that particular gig.
Oh,
and tell me to rewrite
problem.
it.
Yeah. Then do it. Full expression. Let's see what happens. Because if it's so authentic, meaning it is truly the whole truth and nothing but the truth. This is the experience. This is the world. Can you relate to this experience? If you can, then you have no other choice. You have to go with John. You have to go with John.
Yeah.
That's why that's why I set up my own account. I thought I could just set up one account and do this one thing. And if it works, Johnny's going to make more money than he's getting working for these other people, and he's going to get videos, and it could be another profit center.
As a matter of fact, Fiverr, for sellers, Fiverr is constantly saying, well, you'd be doing a lot better if you had a video on here.
Of course.
And I'm not comfortable with looking at my face in the thing, because when I see video of myself, all I can see is my tongue when I speak, and it just looks like I'm trying to lick the screen or something. It's distracting for me.
But check this out, though. See, Fiverr is absolutely correct. but they're hiring you to write.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So everything that I see should be written. That's what I was saying to Samina. I said, we've been saying this ourselves. Like, we're both guilty of this. We keep coming back to it. Samina, everything I built with you is all video. So why do we have written copy when we're trying to sell video? Not that there's not a place for written copy, there absolutely is, but I'm just saying there were times when we were selling the 1111 platform, we were selling coming be in a show, selling have your own show. Well, why did we do that on? Why
In
didn't we
writing,
just
you
do it
should have
on
sold that
video?
video.
And
Yeah.
we're also selling the fact that the whole point of what we sold is that it's not scripted, it's unprepared, it's not a show, and it's not perfect. It's like just you being you, the awkward you. How is it that Samina closed these deals that she tells you about 10, 11, 22? Guess how? Samina talks to me when we had a studio and tell me about your client. Okay. And then I'm just listening about it and I'm suggesting an offer. And then I say, why don't we just take this video and send it to the person? So they've watched the whole experience of Samina and I talking about the person behind their back. And so they see that this number is the real number,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, it's not even about the number. It's like, what would it take for you to really feel good about it? I remember the first one I closed for Samina. She got 11 grand, 11 grand for 60 days of coaching. I suggested $5,000 when she was explaining the person, Shirley. And then Samina goes, it wouldn't be enough. I just like, because I know what I'd have to do because I've worked with her enough to know that. And I'm like, I'm holding it back so she does not see that I'm like, are you fucking kidding? You made 22 grand, the most ever. You've never closed the deal yet, and you're gonna start at something beyond 5,000. Like that's what I was thinking, but I let it go right away because like I'm in awe. Really, you need money right now, and I'm telling you, 5,000, I think. And she said no. I said, well, what would it have to be? And she said, 10 or 11,000. Okay, so 11,000, right? And then I say, why don't we send this video to Shirley, and then, but first, and she said, yeah. And I said, okay, and why don't we do this? Send a message to Shirley first, saying, I just had this conversation with Scott about like an offer for you, and it's all on video. Would you be interested in watching that video and then talking to me right after? Let me know your thoughts on it. And she said yes. And then I made sure Samina scheduled it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to
Yep.
make sure that I know exactly when you're watching it. So I know when it's over. And then you get on the phone right after. Because when I was a headhunter, I closed deals because I made sure I talk to you right when you walk out of that office. You're getting on a payphone or I don't work with you because I need to get the feedback right when it's fresh.
Right.
Same thing here. And you know what Shirley said? The first thing she said to Samina on the call? She said, first thing I want to acknowledge you for is I want to thank you so much for not agreeing to $5,000. She wasn't rich or anything like that, right? But Samina was like processing it, right? We were just having a conversation and like 5,000, no, because I know what she needs. I'd have to do this, and that, this and that. I said, well, what do you think the right number is? Like, what's the lowest number, Samina, you can feel good about? Anyway, I realize I'm on a tangent, but I'm not. I'm saying that we took it for granted. We use video to close everything. Everything is personal video
Mm-hmm.
because now I control it, right? You can watch my video when you want to watch it, my closing video, as opposed to like you have to schedule it and hope to God you're present. You didn't just have a fight with your wife while you promised to watch it. So I say the message when I'm in the zone. You watch the message when you want to, and over 90% closing, I think. Samina,
Mm-hmm.
yes?
Yeah.
Thumbs up if I'm right. Probably 90% close. Yeah. But we took it for granted, right? I've been doing video for green screen 15 years. My closet here is I'm in a closet, green screen closet. I took it for granted. And it's like, couldn't see that, holy shit, everything we do is video. And yet we're trying to sell people that we could help you build a funnel that's going to work. How do we do that? We've never done that. That's why we can say, hey, psychology of marketing, I've never done this. That's why we're doing it together. Again, I don't want to trigger you into helping me on psychology of marketing.
Well, I'm gonna anyway.
Yeah, I know. What value are you getting? I see your body like doing your
Um,
body's like liking this.
yeah, it's given me a couple of different ideas for how I can rework my offers both on Fiverr and away from Fiverr. So it's making me think seriously about doing some videos on both of them, because I do know that people like the connection of the video.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm still surprised how people say this to me. Wow, I can't believe you did that for me. Like they don't realize how easy it is.
yeah, yeah,
Go, so keep going, keep going. They think it's so special.
yeah. I did something. My son's he's on a pre-med track, but he's also his scholarship money all came from
Pause for 1 minute. Pause for 1 minute. Samina, it's 8:45. We'll be on time. Queue up those two videos, and the first one we're going to watch is actually the longer one with Frank Kearns, and then the other one. Go ahead, John.
I was gonna well anyway, Eric's a jazz saxophonist among other things, and jazz musicians, when they the way they learn new solos is they transcribe somebody else's solo, and he had done this Branford Marsalis solo, and so for a transcription he has to write it by hand, so he writes the music for it and then he plays it, and what this particular teacher of his wanted him to do is create the video with the written music across the bottom. And Eric was under a ton of time pressure, so I had to download a video editing software and learn how to edit it and do that. And his teacher really liked it. Now I know how to do it. It would take me, that took me 3 hours, but the next one will take me 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I took JPEGs of each staff, and then I once upon a time was a musician, nowhere near as good as my son is, but I can read music, so I knew when to switch, from one staff to the next, and it turned out I thought it turned out pretty good. It doesn't look as polished as some other people's videos do, but it also doesn't take away from him performing that solo. So
Okay, so what we're going to do now is Samina's going to play something. I want to give you a context for it. I made a note of this a while back. Whenever you did mission psychology of marketing, social accountability video 6, which is 1 minute and 48 seconds. We're going to watch it now together. You'd actually asked, you said this is really good or something, and I just don't know, whatever. It was like you were like, it's good, but you didn't know how to apply it, or like how to apply it for you. And it's perfect. So I think what we're going to do is Samina's actually going to play you that actual video that was the Frank Kern one you watched. And then we're going to play your 1 minute 48-second video. And then I'm going to give you the answer to that for you. And the answer is really, really important.
okay.
Yeah.
There it goes. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can, and
Yes.
we'll thumb you if we hear it.
Okay.
They're stuck because they're rushing. They're stuck because they're rushing the sale, dude. Yeah, they have to quit rushing it. It's perfect time. I'll use this. That could not have worked out better. All right, here's the deal. My name's Frank Kern from Kern Branding. We're an advertising agency. We help larger companies that are spending a lot of money on ads make the ads work better. A lot of clients come to us because they're spending a lot of money on ads, and it's either working really well and they want it to work better. That's a fun job. But usually they're spending a lot of money on ads. Used to work great. Now
Pause.
Typically, the number one culprit is they're rushing the sale.
So just keep it there. It's perfect. Don't do anything. Leave it alone. Don't even move it backwards. Pause. So notice all of us, very quickly, 32 seconds, he just explained what he does, who he does it for, how he sells the product, what somebody does. He's doing it really, really fast. Now he's going to give us the training. Okay, so play.
Here's the deal. This is like put here perfectly. So in any given market, let's say this big bowl of M&Ms or Lifesavers rather represents like your market, okay, that you're going after. Here are the people who are ready to buy right now. Here are the people that are ready to buy in the next like 60 days or so, 90 days, whatever. And then here are the guys that are ready to buy in, let's say, the next 6 months to a year. And we'll just make this a little bit bigger, all right? Here's what's going on. If your campaigns are not working well, if your marketplace is getting too competitive and your ads are starting to crumble, probably the reason why is you're rushing the sale. You're going after these folks right here.
Now back to his 33 seconds when he said, you know, so quickly, this is who I work this with, you would say your thing there, John, but you're going to say it differently. You're going to say, I've been a writer for this many times, for whatever, as short as you can, and I just want you to, for an experiment, say, this is the kind of clients I want to be working with. That's what I'm doing with Trevor. I'm like, I told him, I want to be working with clients just like you. So can we create, with the help of my writer, something that's going to attract your friends, your clients that you work with? And being honest with them. Trevor's not going to lie to them. Trevor's going to tell them. The guy's wacky, and he's done this for me. Like, it's not my expertise. But so I want you to practice that, whether you use it or not, John. Like, that would be your homework between now and when you have your next session with me, unless you want to do it sooner, right? But do your 33-minute thing that is not exaggerating. Mm-hmm. It's like, these are the kind of clients I want to be serving now, this time in my life, whatever. Just change the word. This is the people I want to be serving right now. People that are like this, like this, like that, and don't even imply that you've ever done it for anybody. Let's just start with the truth. Continue playing, Samina.
This little pile of Lifesavers, you guys would not believe how strong the mint smell is right now from these. Anyway, everybody's focused here, right? They're like, hey, you're ready to buy something. Give me money right now. Give me your money right now. And of course, nobody likes to see that, right? But which is the bigger pile here? This one. If we know that these people are going to be making a decision in the next 60 days or so, doesn't it logically make sense to get in front of them, give them something valuable so you can demonstrate you can help them by, God forbid, actually helping them. So when they're ready to make the decision, you are the person that they go to? Of course it does. What would you rather have? 50% of this pile that you're having to share with your competitors, or 50% of this pile that nobody's going after? Clearly, this is better for us, right?
Camera, like, so take the screen share off, but you're going to put it back. So, I mean, I want to just really connect with John here. So I wanted to share that when in the offline world, when I was successful in headhunting, in particular, when I was the most successful in headhunting, I want to tell you a story. And I'm going to tie this into how I failed and how you're about to fail in this too. Just hear me out. When he talks about the 90-day thing, when the year that I think I made the equivalent of 400,000 plus, if you translate it, it was 236,000 or something, like in 13 months or something. It's just shocked the hell out of me. But here's what happened. I had just finished meeting Harold Perry. He's the equivalent of Gordon Gekko of Wall Street in Toronto. He is the headhunter of all headhunters. I was in my 20s, and I took a Bob Proctor course. And it was on Mission and Commission, and he said, find out your 6 top competitors and take them out, pick their brain. This guy was hung up on me the first time. It took a year to get the appointment. It was like, you could make a movie out of my appointment. He shows up late. What the fuck are you doing here? He comes in his Rolls Royce. His office looks like Gordon Gekko's. And he's like, clearly he's pissed off that I got in on his calendar. Okay, so what the fuck do you want? I said, and then somehow I said the right words. I said, I want to know that one thing, that if I do that thing even better than you've been doing that thing, I'll make even more fucking money than you will. And oh man, I hooked him. He went back like this on his chair. And then he took his fist on his mark. It looked like Gordon Gekko's office, fucking even the watch and the fucking and everything. And he said, "You gotta own a goddamn fucking market. I own packaged goods. I own Nabisco." And he started telling me all his clients. You know why I give you my clients? I don't even give you the names of the fucking clients. I deal with this guy, this guy, this guy. You don't do that in headhunting 20, 30 years ago, right?
Right.
You know why I give you the names? Because I own the goddamn fucking market. If they don't fucking use me, I'll fucking rape and pillage their people. I fucking own that market. Okay. I left that meeting realizing that I was taught, like every other headhunter, to be a generalist. I worked in the biggest headhunting firm in Canada, 125 of us in Bay Street. It's like the Wall Street of Toronto. And I realized I got to pick a market. And then I'm like, I don't even know which one to pick. I'm 20 years old, right? I'm just getting started, basically, right? And I'm like, well, this is a very, very fucking important decision. In my mind, I'm thinking, what if I pick the wrong market? You can't just pick it blindly. So here's what I did. This is bizarre. I looked at all the markets that everybody was working in, and there were these two guys. They were these young kids on another floor. I didn't know them, and I was told they were making a lot of money in insurance. Nobody worked insurance. It was all manufacturing and everything like that, except these two guys that I didn't know about. And so I thought, well, I better rule insurance out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I better rule it out. So I picked up the Yellow Pages and I cold called the Yellow Pages, knowing fuck all about insurance. And I said, the call went like this: "Hi, my name's Scott." And first of all, it was like, "Hi." Somehow I got to speak to the president or a vice president, like a senior executive at the very least. I don't know what lie I told or how I did it, but I get him on the phone, and it would be like, "Hi, my name's Scott. My name's Scott Gallagher, and I'm an executive recruiter. I know nothing about your industry. Do you have a moment?" I didn't even know that was a great hook. And they all
Mm-hmm.
gave me their time. And I said, I'm literally researching this industry because I know nothing about it to see if there might be a supply demand imbalance where there's a great need for a particular type of person, but it's very hard to find them. Because if I could find a market like that, that means if I just specialized in recruiting all of those peoples, whatever those people are, even if my client doesn't like my candidate, I'll place them somewhere else because I'm an addict. I like to spend the least amount of time to get my result. So
Mm-hmm.
here's what I got. This is tying into Frank Hearns totally. Here's what I heard. I could tell a lot of people were guessing, and then I could tell some people had conviction about their answer, and there was a pattern. At least 30% was telling me this. Well, I'll tell you, it's not hot right now, but in about 3 to 6 months, our whole industry is going to be scrambling for accident benefit Bill 68 claims adjusters. Oh, tell me why. Well, there's a new legislation that's going to be passed, and we all know it's going to be passed. Once it gets passed, all these people will be in demand. And their conviction on this happening was worth me taking a bold risk. I started recruiting all those people, even though there was no need for them, which was good for me because they trusted me and because I was a refreshing call, because I wasn't like, you know what I mean? If you're a hot market, you got 100 of us calling you every day kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was developing and nurturing these relationships because I believed in what they told me. And I believed it was worth it to nurture the relationship. And then what happened? 90 days later, the job orders started coming out. And Johnny, this guy who had a goal of making $33,000 out of my bachelor apartment that year and wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but I knew that if I can make $33,000, I won't be homeless and have to go live with my mom, which means I'll shoot myself in the head first. Like, it's like just 33 grand. All of a sudden I'm getting checks, 10, 12. I had my soon to be wife said, "Scott, we got 3 checks here of yours. They're all over 10 grand and they've been here for a month. When are you going to the bank?" When I know that I'm going on an errand where the bank is on the right, because I was making so much money, 72 grand in 1 month. And what happened is exactly that. I was building these relationships so that when the time came where the need was there, I was like the guy they trusted. And what's interesting is my vision was, my firm was called the Executive Network. My vision as a kid in his 20s was that I was going to place the top executives, Korn Ferry. I met with Korn Ferry and Caldwell Partners, and I was going to be like them. But then I realized I'd rather have the money. So my firm, the Executive Network, didn't place executives. It placed these $40,000-$50,000 people that had no management authority. There was a gold mine there.
Mm-hmm.
Now I say that because of the following. This is where I see clearly how I got myself in this place, right? That I'm at. See, let's keep playing the video first, just so it's completed, and then I'm going to give you the answer and how it ties into your thing and my thing, and and everybody's thing. My ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling.
Okay, here goes.
We would much rather have this giant pile. So the question becomes, how do you get them, right? The play is an approach that's called intent-based branding. Don't be afraid of the word branding here. It doesn't mean throw a bunch of money around and hope for the best. Here's how it works. We identify who these people are, and then we ask the question that is really, really important. The question is, what do they want? And that's really a way to lead into finding a way that we can demonstrate we can help them by actually helping them. Then we go a little deeper. We say, okay, what are their frustrations? What are their emotions around those frustrations? And finally, what do we need to demonstrate to be true while they're in this phase, so that when it comes time for them to purchase, they will know that you're the best decision. When you have the answer to those questions, you use those answers as raw materials for long-form video content ads, just like this one. Then you take that long-form video content and you run it as an ad, just like this one, in front of the perfect person that you're trying to demonstrate value to. Now, how do you know if you're saying the right thing? Well, when you're running long-form ads like this on social media like Facebook, the media will tell you. So, for example, I can go back into my ad campaign stats and I can tell you exactly to the penny on average how much it costs for me to have a complete stranger to watch this entire video. If that number is low, what does that tell us? It says I'm saying the right thing. This part of the market here, they're resonating with what I'm saying. I should keep saying more of that. If it's expensive, you shoot another video and you go back to the drawing board. But now here's where it gets really, really cool. So, we can't just spend a whole bunch of money just giving out free content all the time and just expect sales to come in, although a rising tide does in fact lift all ships. So now how do we strategically and tactically start making offers to the people who have seen your content? It's really simple. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever platform you choose to advertise on, they will put those people in something called a retargeting database, and you can actually segment that database by how much of your content they've consumed. And then once someone consumes X% of your content, whatever you deem appropriate, that's when you start putting ads in front of them that say, hey, I have an offer that you might be interested in. It's a very, very simple concept. It is incredibly powerful. Here's what's fantastic. Most of your competition, they're over here. They're fighting for these scraps. This is largely ignored. This is where your money is. If you want to really, really grow your business and really outperform the competition, the money is here. The money is in that middle pile. The people that are going to make a decision sometime in the somewhat near future. Get in front of them, not nearly as competitive, build that relationship with them, and you'll have a loyal prospect and a loyal customer for years to come. My name is Frank Kern with Kern
Stop
Branding.
it. Play his social accountability sharing video now. That's his sales pitch at the end. Sorry, what I meant, Sabina, is play his 1 minute 48 second social accountability video, so I'm present to it. We'll give you a thumbs up once we hear it, so you don't have to ask us, did you hear that okay? Johnny smiled because even he knows that's ineffective. Not even he knows, as if he's a stupid person. Go ahead.
This is John Newland again. I just did, I watched the Psychology Marketing number 6. Frank Kern is one of my favorites, definitely. And he said something kind of interesting, stop rushing the sale. And what he meant by that, I think, what I took from it, is that you shouldn't try so hard to chase the people who are ready to buy now, but instead go after the people who are near future, say 60 to 90 days. That makes a lot of sense for a couple of reasons. First, it gives you more time to give them more reasons to buy. and it also puts a little bit less pressure on the marketer, because you're not attacking it like, this is, I have to get people buying within 10 days or within 5 days or something like that. Instead, you're taking the time to educate them on the benefits of whatever it is you're offering. The hard part and the thing, I mean, so what I took from it is don't try so hard to make immediate sales when you could be laying the groundwork for future sales. The challenge in my mind, which I still haven't figured out,
Yeah, you're going to figure it out today.
how do you separate out the people who are going to buy in 60 to 90 days from the people who are going to buy in 6 months to a year or never? And I think that is probably one of the big challenges that
Okay, end it.
everybody in business
Stop.
has to figure.
Yeah. So that's your question, right? Okay, so see, the thing that I do in the mornings, that's not what you're going to do. You don't have the time. You don't like you don't have to do 2 hours of free in the morning with anyone. That's not an effective way to do it, right? But see, what you need, Johnny, is you need a lead magnet. That is like the type of lead magnet that would only attract the type of people that would end up being your ideal prospect at some point in the future. And so, like Samina and I have actually done that successfully. Like her 1111, she could not make money because of violate the lease. So we were like, we'd have a conversation going on someone else's timeline, and it was free so long as they agreed to put the text I wrote on their timeline, which also had a link for their friends to book onto her show. And so like that's how we had over 300-400 people in the studio in 1 year coming to see her from nothing, right? So, and then when we close these deals, like Samina's closed a 10 grand, 11 grand, a 17, 22, and yes, I closed them with Samina. Yes. Okay. Yes. It's not she closed them. She closed them with my help. Right. But see, there was a time where the membership site that I first built with Samina, she had at one time 30 to 50 people doing a psychology and marketing video every single day, John. The promise was 33 days. And if you miss a day, you send Samina $111. We had the same thing going on in another membership site around the law of attraction. And it was the same thing, 33 days. And if you miss a day, you pay $111. And the reason we did that is because it was like, Samina, if we do this, we're going to be able to put your offers in front of these people, right? That is your audience at the right time. Because the membership site, we can set it so that we give them access to level 2 now because we want to close this lady. And we put one of them out there. One lady responded named Hannah. She ended up saying, yeah, I'd like to hear more about this. And then we closed her at 17,000, closed her friend at 22,000, closed another friend at 7,000. But it was based on this concept. Samina, we have to find a way. We have to have something to offer for free that's going to take almost none of your time, where people are getting so much value inside this thing. And we want to fill it up knowing that 90 days from now or so, they'll get to know us. They'll have a session with me if they want it as well. And around 90 days, they said, we're going to earn the right to be able to throw an offer in there. And people respond to it and want to know more about it because you've given them something for free. They know that you did it, and they're seeing, like they're getting value because of this, what you did. Now, so that's why I was saying Johnny doesn't get it about psychology of marketing. For right now, Samina has to, so her fear doesn't get triggered. That's why she's like doing so well right now, because she knows what I'm saying from experience is true. Samina, if we filled that thing up to 30 people, and there used to be a penalty, and now it's not one a day, it's one a week. I mean, let's find a way to get 100 people in there, because Samina knows if we have 100 people in there doing a video once a week, that means they're coming in there and they're going to see our offers when we want them to, and we're going to offer like have a free session with Scott for your messaging. That will organically happen, and all of a sudden we're going to be in a position to close all these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do we do that with Johnny? A little bit more tricky, but so first of all, John has to decide. First of all, if John like that offer that I critiqued, even if it was really, really good, I'm going to suggest that you're still not going to make money. Even if you took all my feedback and you made a masterpiece, you know why? Because who the fuck's going to see it? We're just going to throw it on a website? The only reason we're getting leads coming into All Addictions Anonymous is because I've had it up for 15 years, and it's been, we're on search engines and we're connected to other 12, you know what I mean? Like it's been out there, so people are coming in, and we haven't even able to do that for Samina still yet. So, and you don't even have time to do it. So that's called playing a game you can't win. Like you can't write an amazing piece of fucking thing that's going to attract the people that are immediately ready to buy. And you're not even getting traffic to it. So that's why when you go through Russell's training, when you go through Dan's training, when you go through all these programs I buy for Samina, I custom edit them for her, there's not one of them that has a plan that doesn't have you providing value to them first. You can't do the coaching consulting thing as the value because you don't have the time for that. You actually have to give them something that is extremely valuable and it costs them no time. Agreed, John?
Yeah.
Right? You don't have the time. So I got two ideas for you. One is what I've already given you, and if you really got what why I keep having this idea, it actually benefits you. Like the thing about helping us get people into psychology, into the mission marketing membership site, my vision that I want to be able to let people know at some point that Johnny is our writer. We partner with him, and like all this traffic, we're getting to showcase Johnny inside there intelligently, selectively. I told Samina, build psychology and marketing, had a 1 hour and 13-minute meeting with her on Zoom. And I said, do it like this. It was super fast, right? And I said, and I was removing all the access levels. I said, if I'm a new person, Samina, I got to be wowed when I walk in there. So just showcase the social accountability, sharing videos of different people. And I said, definitely use John for the one on the offer, because I remember his was really powerful. And then people are teased, and if they wanted more information to actively participate, to reach out. So there you go. There's free. This would totally, you see how like you could even offer something like this if you had the time to build a membership site and a community for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, so I just want to say that the reason why I get excited when I present an idea, when it's like to you or Sabina, because my heart of hearts, I don't present something that I don't feel everybody totally wins.
Mm-hmm.
Like equally. I just feel like with all your options and all the barriers you have, holy shit, John, if you could just fucking help Samina with what I'm working with her on in whatever way you want, and in such a way that you own it. Like you could even say, like, this is my thing, without lying. And it's like, this is a thing that I'm able to grant access and into, it's one of the things that I offer for free anyway, if it wasn't that, okay, what else? So the actual lead magnet obviously has to, bring them in, but it has to have some type of thing that makes it clear that there's a strong potential that they could hire you for what you do. So I understand when you said don't put coaching in there. You could be right. We could do a split test. We could take coaching out or put it in. It don't matter, because either way, I already considered that. Sabina thought the same thing. You know what? Doesn't matter. It'll still work, whether you put coaching in or not. The whole thing is, who are the people, right? These are people that don't want to spend any more money on training program courses and whatever. But we're not there to sell them yet, right? We can't just go straight from that into the implementation coach, because we don't have enough success stories, to have the full landing page the way it's done. Remember I sent you one by this quiz guy? That's how you have to do it. Even that guy, that was the last thing, part of his launch. I know this guy, went into his launch. I always participate. I like watching these guys that, get their launches better. Free, 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 free. 7 videos later, now you see that landing page. In other words, if you could design a brilliant landing page like that quiz funnel guy, right? Even if you could for yourself, it wouldn't work, or these guys would all be doing it. They get you by giving you free. I only have one idea that came to me, right? And this is now I wonder if it's it. But one idea was if you had a lead magnet that was, the top proven 52 hooks or headlines that are guaranteed to give you a 72% chance of people clicking your email. Because think about it. Because anybody who would give you their email address with that type of an offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have clearly decided that I have a problem with my stuff, my emails converting or my stuff converting, and fuck, oh yeah, and I obviously don't want to pay this guy, and it's like you're not Frank Kern, you're not known, but you could get known, like Frank says in that video, and he's been saying this for years, and it's how I do it too, is that like each of those people that we closed for Samina that paid 10 grand or more, they had at least seen me maybe 3 or 4 times before they got to the point of an offer.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like, okay, you'd see me this week, and then a month from now because it's free, and then 2 months you have to wait to see me again if you can't pay. And I had this hybrid structure so that, I wasn't just free, I was free with conditions. And then, if there became an urgency to really have things happen, then, they basically reach out and ask us to give them an offer, even though it wasn't exactly like that. That's what was happening, right? So you have to get known. You have to have an audience. So knowing that, being how much your time restraint, you either find a way to really make the Fiverr thing really take off more, because what it's going to take to build an audience, well, first of all, that's a good lead magnet, right? That's a good lead magnet. But even if you have the lead magnet, how are you going to get traffic to it? It's going to take a lot. Like, it's going to take time.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I felt like definitely do that if you want to build your thing. But you can't kid yourself. You have to bribe people by getting their email address so you can start dripping on them yourself. That's another thing we've never done until now with you. Why are we doing it now? Because they've all been teaching it, but we don't do it because it takes too much time. And it's like, and now we're at a point where we're so fucked right now financially. Why don't we just fucking do it right? Because our list is burning out, because all we've been doing, we blast them maybe every 3 months or whatever. There's no nurturing now. And thank you, John, for those emails that you wrote that provided me way more value than just your great writing. Like, so it might seem like I'm negating you when I say, well, I never used them, but fuck, I did. You showed me a pathway, and all of a sudden I could feel, oh my God, this is what it feels like to get an email if I'm the prospect, and it feels pretty freaking good. Your emails felt good. They felt like you were providing value to me, instead of what Sabine and I have been doing. We get an inspired offer, we blast it out. And then, the offer has to be so fucking good because the list is like not been nurtured. Everybody knows when an email is coming, I wonder what they're selling now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think that's what I need to tell you, the brutal truth. You could create a great website and do the best you got to be, and you're going to be in the position I've been in for years. I did not embrace a strategic process to nurture relationships by giving them something for free other than me. And that's not a very good one, right? I mean, there's only 7 days in a week, right? And it's 2 hours. This is something I do for my addiction recovery well-being, and it just happens to be a benefit to my business. I'm sorry, it's 9:17. I didn't notice it. I'm out of integrity for making this session go 2 minutes long. May I have permission to let it go to a maximum to 9:30? Or
Sure.
Okay, I apologize for that. I didn't notice that. Sabina, John, because of the time, I want to let the next 13 minutes, 12 minutes be between you and Samina. And that's it.
Okay.
I've already opened a door here, so you guys could debrief a little bit, but I know like I've given you something serious to think about, right? When you watch this again, this footage, whenever you feel like it, you're gonna see why there's no point talking any further. Like just take this in and then decide which way do you want to go, knowing that I'm very confident that we're going to be moving into integrity choices and some amazing shit's going to start happening. Amazing stuff's already happening, and your energy and you've just been a big part of the goodness that's happening in our lives, John. And Simina and I talk about that at least once a week while we laugh at the next broken promise that's probably going to come. Look, we laugh like that's how much we. It's not about that to us. You have been such a blessing to us in a time where we were kind of falling apart during COVID, and an old friend who I didn't know was a friend came in and basically said, I got your back without even having to say it because that's just who you are. So I just want to say you're doing an incredible job for us and you're providing more value than even your great writing is worth.
Thanks.
And I love you, John. And thank you for always being there for me.
Thank you. We want to do in terms of, because you're sitting on this great big list that you haven't, like Scott says, you blast it every now and again, but you haven't really done much.
So Sabina, you just failed. You don't let him do that. This is about him. We're in no rush, John. We'll send you a video later on what we want to do next steps because we're already on it.
Okay.
Sabina, take over your session here.
Okay. So yeah, in the next 10 minutes or so we have, let's just kind of with a lot has come out. I know there's a lot to process, but just so it's complete for this session. What's something that you feel really good about, that you agree with what Scott said, to take action on that one thing? Is there anything that comes to you right now?
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up it'll be something like an email newsletter, but basically I'm going to offer as a freebie, X number of lessons on how to write a subject line that gets your emails opened. Because it's something I know when I do a lot of email writing for people, and I spend a lot of time on the subject line, because what you want is the subject line has to scream, oh, this guy's talking right to me. This is not spam, right? Because otherwise it just gets deleted with the rest of the spam.
Mhm.
So if I'm writing something that's directed at real estate agents, then I'm going to say something in the subject line that is particular to something that that real estate agents want to know or need to know, right? And so I could write a series of emails like and then set up an autoresponder, and then I could draw people into that by posting on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn seems to be for the people that I want to work with, the people I want to attract, they tend to do more business on LinkedIn than they do on Facebook, because LinkedIn's considered more serious.
Yeah.
That you don't see cat pictures on LinkedIn.
Right. Yeah, it's more professional in that sense.
Right.
So, all right. So between now and our next session on mission marketing, or whether it's integrity choices, whatever it turns out to be next week on Wednesday, what's a small thing that you think, and I say think because an inspiration could be like, yeah, I'm inspired today, but then tomorrow that could change, right? So just you have space to do that. So what do you feel right now that you'd be inspired to take on, even if it's just starting the process of related to putting something in action, moving your business forward?
I'm going to start sketching out the copy that I would use on my LinkedIn profile that would cause people to click on that link, to, learn how to write a better subject line. So I'm going to, by the next time, I should have something probably not particularly polished, but something that I've spent some time on that I think will draw people, so that when I make a comment on their post on LinkedIn, they're going to see in my profile, oh,
Link or something that
yeah,
to that. Yeah. So
right.
let's say, for the sake of commitment or promising, so it's specific, that you're going to start the process, not necessarily have it complete. I mean, if you have it completed, great, but but you're not committing to that. You're just going to start the process of sketching out your copy, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, however that looks like, however you're inspired to do that, whenever you're inspired to do that between now and our next session on Wednesday.
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay, great. Is there anything else you want to talk about that's related to you?
No,
No?
that gives me plenty to work on for the next week. Yeah, this has been really useful.
Awesome. Now, how has this been useful? I know it's the first session with Scott coming in, so it's, a bit different, right? But yeah, how has this been? I know you're gonna do your social campus sharing video right after, but how has this been useful to you, valuable to you? In what way specifically?
It's helped explain to me what may have been holding me back a little bit. And not only does it explain what's been holding me back, but how to do something to overcome it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I hadn't had before. I hadn't had somebody say, well, look, this is what's holding you back, and here's what you can do to fix it. And that's the real value I got out of that.
Awesome. Okay. I'm just
Wonderful.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And we're still on for Friday morning, right?
Yeah, for sure. I was just saying, yeah, with our implementation session, that'll be the implementation for a block of, we said we'll try for 3.5 hours because that's what you requested.
Yep.
At 7:15 a.m.
Yep.
I know we started something last week with, I mean, I'm just going a different direction, but because you also brought it up, and it's coming up on Friday before we end off, we start the process of the offer, but just so there's a little bit, because that was only the first session, but any ideas, and I'm not saying it has to be sent, so it could change and we can be in communication, of course, prior to Friday if anything else comes up, and I'll debrief, I always usually debrief with Scott before our sessions. But any ideas coming from you as it's your implementation session that you want to really work on and need my support with on the court for Friday? Let's just, so any thoughts or ideas on that? It could be a copy or anything that comes to you right now.
On the joint offer, what I want to do is I want to dig more into what the implementation assistance consists of, right? Because I really think that that's conceptually something that has a lot of legs, and if we can do a better job as part of the offer stack to explain everything that's included in that implementation assistance, then at some point that'll be something that you can turn around and you can offer your market as a standalone item, right? It's like I think you could be offering that right now with the people you work with and the people you have worked with. It's I mean, I can see the I can see the, I want to say, I can see the advertising for it. I can see how I would talk to somebody, you know, and it's like what you're trying to draw into mission marketing. It's like, look, I know you've had all of these courses and you've never been able to execute on them. And what I'm going to do is be your execution partner. And here's how that's going to work, right? That I'm going to go through this process with you. And then instead of giving you homework, I'm going to do it with you. And we're going to be online on a Zoom call while you are building this thing with me looking over your shoulder, right? And giving you suggestions and helping you.
Right. So I know, like, yeah, this is a joint offer we're doing together, so it benefits you as well. But as it's like I said, though, and besides, with this partnership that we're building on, what's something that we can have, and that of course will come about naturally, right? That we can have implemented specifically for you on Friday's session. That's going to also benefit and serve you.
That I'm not sure. I've got, based on the comments that that Scott just made, I have some ideas, and those ideas need to be pursued. But I'm not sure at this moment how to do that. But I think that's something worth talking about on Friday.
Yeah.
Again,
like if you have any ideas that come to you, just send me an email, right? And I'll of course debrief with Scott and get his thoughts as well.
Okay.
We'll go from there. I just want to make sure that again with the first session, it's like, as a first one, right? So we learn from them that we're doing, and yeah, you have to talk things out, and that's fine, right? But I just want to make sure that we're doing more implementation than talking or whatever. In terms of like working in those 3.5 hours, right?
Right.
There's in two things or one thing, because of what it is an implementation session. So I just want to make sure that we stay in integrity with, because it's that, and we're calling it that.
Right.